Warrior Class Podcast, the one and only Warrior Class Podcast, not like the phone is. The Warrior Class Podcast, where we teach the homies. The Warrior Class Podcast won't leave you lonely. But then beat up everybody, and them niggas always taught it. We clown. We clown on everybody.
Welcome to Warrior Class.
Where the teachers whoop ass.
And you will too if you pass.
Yes.
All right, this is the Bugging Out, Getting Home, and Eating Herbs episode.
Yes, sir.
But first, Ominiki's going to start us with some news.
My news is so unorganized. Hold on just a second. People have been acting up a lot lately, though. So under the theme of keeping your head on swivel, make sure that you are looking out because, people are being arrested for doing all sorts of things to Black people. I have been so thinking about the herbal portion so much that I can't remember where I put my news. Give me just a second. How you been doing this week, Baba?
Not too good. I'm in Chicago. My mother is supposedly going to pass this weekend or early next week. So I'm dealing with that. But
I'm so sorry to hear that, Baba.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, everything's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe we can do the news after.
All right.
I cannot remember where I put it. I keep all week. I find stories and all that, and I put them. And I thought I posted them on my page, but I don't see anything that you all would be interested in on here. I did see yesterday ICE was in our area, like the area that I live in, actually going from door to door, supposedly. So
what do they want?
Well, that's supposed to be a thing now that they're going to neighborhoods, going from door to door, like seeing if you're harboring.
You got any illegal aliens in there?
Right. And people are like, of course they're telling you don't open the door. You don't have to open the door. If they say they have a warrant, you should be asking them to look at it. One of the pages that I follow on Facebook is a woman who's a lawyer who, isn't giving legal advice, of course, but says to make sure they hold it up to the window. And she gives you a few pointers to be able to tell if it's a judicial warrant or if it's just because ICE also is doing their own like warrants where basically it's just a piece of paper that they have warrant on, that it makes it look official, but it's not a warrant signed by a judge. So, don't open the door for them. And that's definitely a piece of news because we want to make sure that we're discussing that with our family, especially older people and younger people who are the exact dynamic that I live with, in particular. Want to make sure that they know that those people don't have authority, that you don't have to answer the door, open the door, definitely. And, that you can just hang back, like that you don't have to. I wouldn't even acknowledge them, to be honest.
I mean, shit. If they came to my house, I'm not harboring nothing, so I wouldn't.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely news. And I guess that's all the news we're gonna do right now. Like I said, after we get through the information, maybe I'll be able to find where I put my news.
All right. So we're gonna start with the bugging out, getting home, and eating herbs episode. Then
I love the name, by the way.
disaster rarely announces itself politely. It arrives in the dark, in the silence after a warning siren fails. In the moment the road you plan to take no longer exists. A bug out bag is not a hobbyist accessory or a paranoid fantasy. It is a final concession to reality that there may come a moment when staying is no longer possible and hesitation costs more than you can afford. Now, I'll say I used to work with a brother who was just like, bug out. And I was recommending, because I'm dealing with urban survival, people for urban survival, bug in if you can. If you have to leave, but bug in if you can.
Yeah,
he was, bug out, go to the forest. I said, man, I'm for our people. And most of our people can't go to the forest and survive.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And also just, I mean, you have to think about realistically what situation you may be in. Think about your day-to-day life. One thing that we used to talk about a lot is The Walking Dead. And, again, it's an entertaining show. But if you look at the situation that they're in when the zombie apocalypse takes place, they're living in a city. There is a portion of it where they eventually end up in the woods, but for a lot of it, they're in the city having to navigate through the city, apartment buildings, urban environment. So that's where a lot of us live. So that's what we need to be thinking about first and foremost.
Right. A properly built bug out bag gives you one thing when everything else is stripped away: time. 72 hours to breathe, move, decide, and survive while systems fail and help is nowhere near. And that's if you have a 72-hour bag. I've got a 10-day bag.
You're both very wise.
But you can 72 hours is the least you should plan for.
Right. A bug out bag, also called a 72-hour kit, go bag, or grab bag, is a portable lifeline. It contains only what you can carry and only what you will truly need when the comforts of home are gone. Its purpose is simple: get you out alive and keep you that way for 3 days. Inside are bare essentials: food, water, clothing, tools, chosen for convenience. Chosen
Not for
for convenience, but for survival. Nothing extra, nothing sentimental, everything intentional. What goes into your bag depends on grim variables you don't control: your body and its limits, your family's vulnerabilities, your environment when order breaks down, the kind of emergency that forces you out the door. The wrong bag is dead weight. The right one might be the reason you make it at all.
And when we say your family's vulnerabilities, that could be many things. For my 3-year-old, it's pull-ups. For me, it's my medicine. So it can change based on who's in your family, who you're concerned with, things of that nature.
Yeah, bro.
Knowing when to leave is harder than knowing how. Most people wait too long, clinging to normalcy while exits quietly disappear.
That is the statement of the century right there.
There are only two real scenarios: mandatory evacuations, and that's when authorities tell you to leave is already late. So when the authorities are coming through your neighborhood saying, evacuate, leave, it's already too late by the time they tell you. Roads clog, shelters fill, supplies vanish. A packed bug out bag means you're not scrambling while others are still in denial. During COVID, all of our people were prepared. Other people were scrambling, buying 50 rolls of tissue and all kinds of stuff. You leave immediately or you don't leave at all. So you either bug in or you leave immediately, and immediately tells you it's based on the situation. Like if we're dealing with an apocalyptic situation and my house is set on fire, I got to leave immediately. Ain't no, should we leave? Should we stay in this burnt out house? I got to leave. Okay. And the second, so there are two real scenarios. The second scenario is voluntary evacuations. Sometimes the warning comes without an order. The air turns toxic. The water rises faster than forecast predicted. Fire moves quicker than expected. Radiation doesn't care about your plans. Leaving your home is always a loss. Shelter, warmth, stored food, gone. The moment you close the door, it's gone. But staying too long can cost far more. Your bug out bag exists for that terrible calculation.
Chaos scatters family faster than disasters themselves. Without a plan, separation becomes permanent. Designate a meeting point. Hope is not a strategy. Choose locations before they're needed. Higher ground if water is your enemy. Reinforce shelters if wind and debris are. Known evacuation routes if you live in a hurricane corridor. If communications fail, this place becomes the only certainty left. Talk to your family. Children freeze under uncertainty. Adults make mistakes under stress. Plans discussed calmly are remembered when fear takes over. Everyone should know where to go, what to carry, and what happens if plans break down, because they will.
Disasters don't wait for you to be ready. They catch you at work, in traffic, in unfamiliar cities.
Yeah, bro.
You are away from home nearly 40% of your life. When something goes wrong during that time, your supplies are useless unless you can reach them. A get home bag exists for one reason. So if you got bug out bag, you got get home bags, right? To move you through disruption, danger, and distance back to where you belong. It is lighter, faster, less forgiving.
Yeah, bro. And one of the things you said was that it happens in traffic. In Atlanta a few years ago, we actually had what they called the snowpocalypse. Baba, I know you know what I'm talking about. Everyone jokes about how, if there's even like an inch of snow here, everything shuts down. And the reason for that is because they do not prepare, or at least at that time, they don't do anything. They don't prepare the roads, nothing. So what happened during that particular time is that people were getting stuck on roads. I mean, there was for miles people stuck on like highways. There were truck drivers that my parents knew that were like pulled over, that were, couldn't get out of the truck. And people just didn't, normally in the backs of trucks, of course, you're going to have supplies, but people who are stuck in their cars didn't have anything. Imagine if you had your bug out bag or your get home bag and, made sure that you had some water with you. If you were in a situation like that, that would be a complete different situation for you than it is for the next person who doesn't have any supplies at all. So
a friend of mine, an author, he was stuck in traffic for 3 days. And, I was like, you need me to come and come get you? And he was like, no, don't come out. I said, man, I'm from Chicago. I'm used to 2 inches of snow. That's nothing. And he was like, nah, no, don't do it. And he finally walked to, got out of his car and walked to a hotel. I think other people were following him too, like going by his lead. And he rented a hotel for a night, and then he was able to get his car or something like that, the next day or whatever. It's bad. So an apocalypse can happen based on what you're used to too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because I've lived through blizzards. Right. There's no way Atlanta could live through a blizzard.
Yeah.
No way. Not Chicago like blizzard. What Atlanta would call the blizzard would be 3 inches of snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I've been in blizzards where the snow is higher than your outside door. And we would have to catch the bus. I didn't walk into the bus. I slid down a hill of frozen snow into the bus. That is still not an apocalypse to Chicago. A Chicago snow apocalypse, I can't even imagine what that would be. Up to the second floor of an apartment building with snow or something. I couldn't imagine.
I was just gonna say, during that time, the snowpocalypse time, I actually had literally like the day before bought a car. It was a used car, and the tires weren't very good, and I hadn't had a chance to replace them. So I tried to go out actually to pick my son up. He was going to a homeschool that wasn't far from where I lived. So I left home to go and pick him up. And another thing that was happening during those times is that if you stopped on the road for too long, you just couldn't, your car just wouldn't go. Because they didn't treat the roads, your wheels you literally could not drive. So I went to get him and got stuck behind some cars that had were stuck. And I sat there for a second and I remembered, oh my God, you can't sit here. Otherwise you'll get stuck too. So I turned around. The car finally let me kind of move and turn around. And I ended up having to go back home. And for really the first time, I guess the only time, he had to spend the night at someone else's house for 2 days because I couldn't get to him because of, how bad the tires were on the car that I had just bought. So it was just, small situations, but it just culminated into this big thing here. So, one thing that I learned from that situation is to always keep some cat litter in the car and always keep rock salt in the car. Also, if you have excess, I think it's calcium. I can't remember what the compound is called. That I don't keep in the car, but it's something that you can use that will melt ice on the road and melt snow. So you can research that if you want, but that's something good to not. Of course, it wouldn't be in your bug out bag, but it's something that you can keep in your car. Cat litter under your wheels can be enough to give you some traction so that you can move. Ice also is a good something that is good to melt snow, so think about those things as well.
Now, I manifesto. You said coming down like snowpocalypse here. Where do you live? You live in you live in Philly or something? Now it in Chicago, we got snow yesterday, but the trucks moved through. Oh, you live in New Jersey? Okay, yeah. The trucks came through here and melted the snow like almost immediately. But Chicago got thousands of snow trucks. Atlanta, shit, I think when I first moved, they had 2 snow trucks.
I think they borrow them or something. They might have bought them now after the snowpocalypse, but I think they were borrowing trucks or something like that. I can't.
Yeah,
it's hard to remember.
It's on you, Monique.
Okay. When systems fail, these items stop being gear and start being survival currency. Water. 1 gallon per person per day, minimum. Without it, everything else is noise. Food. Non-perishable, calorie dense, no cook options. Emergency radio. Because silence is often worse than bad news. Flashlight and batteries. Darkness makes small problems lethal. First aid kit. Help will not be coming. Whistle. Your voice will fail before your lungs do. Dust mask. The air may no longer be safe. Plastic sheeting and duct tape. Crude shelter beats exposure. Hygiene supplies. Infection is a slow killer. Basic tools. To shut off utilities, open food, or improvise. Maps. Digital systems die quietly. Phone and power while it still works. And then the things no checklist can predict. Medication, cash, clothing for the worst weather, not the best. Supplies for children, pets, or the injured. Carry only what earns its weight.
And here's a list of items you'll need for your bug out bag. A bag, durable backpack, 40 to 55 liter recommended. Comfortable straps and load support. So when you put it on, it's comfortable for you. We dealt with that in the busking. And I said busking again in the rucking episode.
Right.
You
And
gotta
here's
have,
of course where rucking comes in handy.
yes, and you should ruck anyway, because if an apocalypse hits next week and you haven't been practicing moving with your bag, it's gonna be hard on you. Weather resistance or rain cover, that should be on your bag too. Okay. Water, stainless steel water bottle, single wall, boilable. So not like a thermos, but a single wall water bottle that you can heat up. A thermos, you can heat the outside, but the inside, if it's cold, it's going to stay cold. Okay. And I mean, Special said, funny, Bob, I would say Philly. I was born there. Wow. So water, you want stainless steel water bottle. You want water purification tablets, and you can get those at sports stores, like REI and stores like that, Dick's. You can get purification tablets there, or you can get them online. And you want a portable water filter. So we've got my family. We've got these straws, safety straws, that you can suck out of muddy water and it'll filter it. So yeah, it's not busking, it's rucking. Busking is when you've seen it when people sing on the street, or in the tunnels, in the train tunnels. That's busking. I don't know why, because I said it last week too. It's rucking. All right. So you want a bag, you want water, you want food for 72 hours, high calorie ration bars, MREs, or MREs is meals ready to eat, and they come in these packages, right? Or ready to eat meals of another type, and you can find those ready to eat meals. You can in a can, but a can you got to have a can opener, of course, and you should have a can opener in your go bag.
I was gonna say a word on those meals though, and also on canned food. We mentioned situations that you can't account for, and having medication ready. One thing you have to think about with those meals is the amount of sodium in them. So if that's an issue for you, then
Yes.
you need to make sure that you prepare for that in advance. Maybe not just buy the things on the shelf, or figure out how you're going to be able to work with those things if you can't have a lot of sodium.
Right. You should have a manual can opener. You should have not an electric can opener because electricity may go down. So a manual opener.
I was going to say, Bob, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but there's other ways that you can open cans too, and you can look up some YouTube videos and kind of prepare yourself and watch those, just so you can know, if you don't have a can opener or if something happens to it, other ways that you can open cans.
Right. Now you can, and the can opener I recommend is completely manual.
Right.
Not with the wheel you turn it. And,
right.
I don't recommend that because they can break down easily.
Oh yeah.
You want navigation and communication. You want emergency weather radio, hand cranked or solar. I got a hand crank radio. You want printed local and regional maps. Don't be talking about I'm gonna look at my GPS on the phone, because that only gonna last you so long. You want a compass set to local declination. So if you live in the mountains, you want the compass set to local decline. It declines, and you want to set for that decline area. You want a signal mirror. And I said navigation and communication. Signal mirror, I mean, you can look and see who's in your house or whatever, but you can also signal people. It's a form of communication. But you gotta, like, if you have a group or family, you gotta tell your family what these signals mean with your signal mirror. Power and light. You got to have a flashlight, and redundancy is good. In my bag, I've got 3 flashlights, 2 handheld, one that goes on my head. All right. You got to have a flashlight. You got to have a headlamp, and the headlamp is the one I was talking about, the one that goes in your head, or you can get the type that hangs here on the side. spare batteries or charging cable. I say spare batteries and charging cable because, like I said, the power could go. So you need the batteries.
Boom. There's also some hand crank lights. I have a hand crank
Yeah,
flashlight,
yeah, yeah.
so that's something that we, could
And
be handy.
that could yeah, yes, use that too if you can. Shelter and warmth. A survival blanket, and I don't mean those aluminum foil looking blankets. Those aluminum foil blankets, we found out that don't work. Kalanji, as a matter of fact, was well, we did a camp, but Kalanji and a survival camp, we were in the house setting up tents and stuff. Kalanji didn't have a tent at that time, but he had the aluminum foil emergency blanket, and he covered himself in that blanket and was freezing. So another brother let him in the tent with him, because you can't. That aluminum foil is garbage. When I say survival blanket, you can get a weighted blanket. Like I have a weighted blanket that Ominiki gave me for my birthday, I believe it was years ago, and or or maybe you gave it to us for Okiki Ola's birth.
That's
I
what it
think
was.
that was what it was. Yeah, and that's a survival blanket. It's heavy, but you got to remember now it goes in your bug out bag. So
Right, the extra weight.
yeah,
A
but
thing about
those aluminum foil ones, they don't do nothing.
And since you mentioned the brother letting him into the tent, a word on tents, sometimes we see, who I think it was a coworker of mine or something like that. We were talking about tents. He was telling me how he has this huge tent, and I was like, do you go camping? Like, have you ever used it?" And he was like, "No, but me and my family gonna have plenty of room or whatever if anything happens." And I was like, with a tent, you want to have the smallest tent that you can get. You of course want to be able to accommodate your family, but if you have a huge tent, you have to heat all of that. Like it
Right.
can be very cold inside a tent if you have a whole bunch of extra space. So
Right.
think about that too. Another
Now,
reasons not just
Brittany said a wool blanket. Yeah, you can get a wool. You use a wool blanket because that does uh, it wicks moisture and or another type of moisture wicking blanket you can get.
yeah, and there's a
Can the
lot.
blanket be rolled and carried on strap top of bag carried on top of bag? Yes, it can be rolled. So you can roll it and then you can put it on top of your bag. Yes, you can.
I would cover it with something though. If I were
Yeah,
gonna do
because
that.
if it rains, but if you get the rain cover, it will be covered. But usually with the bag, people have a floor roll on the bag, on the outside. But you can put both. You can wrap up the blanket and then wrap the floor roll around the blanket.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of good wool combinations out there too. So,
yes,
you might be able to get something that has wool in it, but also has like the moisture wicking properties. I
right,
know you're going to talk about socks, Baba. So that's
right. You want a survival blanket. You want a waterproof tarp. So you get a waterproof tarp. You can set up a lean-to, or you can uh, uh, um, or you can set up a makeshift tent from a waterproof tarp. If you or the waterproof tarp can be your floor roll. You can roll it up, put it on top of your bag. That can be your floor roll. You want at least a lighter, one lighter. I've got 5, I think, in my bag. And you want waterproof matches. Not regular matches, waterproof matches. Okay. Hopefully your bag won't get wet, but because you got other things in the bag too that could get ruined by the wetness, but get you some waterproof matches. You might have to light a fire during the rain, and not now during the heavy rain, fire ain't gonna even work. But you might have to light a fire during, drizzling or whatever. So you want waterproof matches. Clothing, extra socks, long sleeve shirt, durable pants, underwear, a rain poncho, work gloves, an N95 mask, and nitrile gloves. So you want to have gloves that you can't get burned or cut. You want to have that. Your hands are going to be very important during that time. So I randomly brought a metal magnesium fire starter. Would that be any good in wet conditions? Yes, that'd be good. That'd be good in wet conditions. Yes. Medical and first aid. You want a basic first aid kit. Now I've got a advanced medical kit, but a basic one you at least want to have. Prescription medications for a minimum of 3 to 7 days. So if you're on medicine, minimum 3 days, could be 3 to 7 days, depending on what kind of medication you're taking. Personal medical items like an EpiPen, inhaler, that kind of thing. Protection, if you're trained. Personal defense option, could be a pistol, shotgun, AR-15, whatever. But if you're trained, a secure holster or carry system. So it could be a holster or a sling. If you got a rifle, or assault rifle. Well, not assault rifle. I hate using that term, assault rifle. A carbine or a rifle. You carry that with a sling. Use a holster for a pistol. Don't carry that in your pants without a holster.
In the small of your back.
Right. Never in the small of your back anyway. I know a guy who got paralyzed. He had a pistol in the small of his back and he fell. He ended up paralyzed for life. Don't ever put a pistol in the small of your back. Ever. And people do that, but don't do that.
Yeah, it's in the movies.
Right. From watching movies and TV, you stuff the pistol in the small of your back. Don't do that. Even in a holster, don't do that. It should be on your side or on your leg, at your appendix, a holster. All right. Ammunition or recharge supplies. Now, I put recharge supplies for if you're carrying a taser. If you can get your hands on a taser, hey. But if you can get your hands on a taser and a pistol, I say pistol, not taser. If I'm out trying to get home, a dude tries to accost me and I hit him with a taser, that's only gonna leave him incapacitated for a while. Once he wakes up, he could follow me and do whatever. And some people, they don't even get phased by a taser. So,
one thing though about African martial arts is we say that we wrestle people, and that means to put them on their back, belly, or side. So if you put them on their back, belly, or side with a taser, then you render them vulnerable to a finishing technique.
right, finishing technique.
Right. So
Right.
you could stun them for a second and then maybe do something else.
Right. Tools, you want to have a fixed bladed knife. Now you can have a folding knife on you too, but a fixed blade knife is good if in your go bag. Now, I have a fixed blade knife and a folding knife in my go bag. Okay. You want a multi tool because you may have to get into someplace, get out of someplace. So you want to have a multi tool. A paracord. Paracord could be used for many things, but paracord can be used to hook up things to your gear, to your bag. It can be used for rappelling. It can be used to tie up people and things. So duct tape, same thing. It can be used to attach things to your bag. It can be used to attach people to an object like a chair or a tree. So duct tape has many uses too. Hygiene and sanitation, toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, feminine hygiene supplies, personal documents, and personal hygiene supplies. Ominique could speak to this better than I can, but they have a cup for survival that you can wear. Mm-hmm. Pads.
They have underwear now.
Yeah, underwear too. I don't know what I could. I mean, I can't recommend the stuff, but
I would just say start working with it now. And all the sisters out there, start working with it now. See what works for you, and whatever works for you, put it in your go bag and your bug out bag.
Personal documents and items, emergency plan. You want that printed. It can be in your phone for now, but you want it printed too. A copy of ID, cash, small bills. Early on during an apocalyptic situation, cash will be worth something. Later on, if the apocalypse lasts for too long, your cash will be worthless, just so you know. Waterproof pen. I said waterproof pen. Okay. Waterproof notebook. And you can get both of those. I think you can get those at a sporting goods store, but you can also get them get them online. Waterproof pen and waterproof notebook. Personal moral items, like photos, keepsake, a Bible, whatever, Now, a paracord and a carabiner, yes, that's for rappelling. Rappelling is a skill that if you can get it, you should get it. I can rappel in the conventional way. I can't rappel the Australian way, which is going down, like you're going down with your face towards the ground. I I want to learn. If anybody knows where somebody that teaches that, I want to learn how to rappel in the Australian way, because if you have to fire on people,
that's the best way, man.
Right.
I could see that. Speaking on the personal morale items, one thing that we talk about with these get home bags, and bug out bags is your personal addictions, and being very real with yourself about what those addictions may be. Addiction to sugar, if you're the type of person who has to smoke, periodically, like, you should be very frank with yourself about what your needs are in those ways as well. And
Right.
you may have to keep a couple candy bars in there. You may have to, like I said, keep something in there with you, whatever your thing is, because the worst time to start to come down off of that is going to be during the beginning of a disaster situation. So think about that.
And she said beginning of a disaster situation, because some addictions you're not going to last to the end of the apocalyptic situation.
So someone say pancakes.
That's your addiction. Well,
I don't know. I guess you can say.
I guess you can make or you can make some pancakes and stick them in your go bag. They ain't gonna last long, but you can stick them in your go bag.
Get some what's that cereal? The waffle. What's the waffle cereal? I can't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cereal.
I don't even think they make that no more, do they?
I don't know. I don't buy none of that type of stuff. But whatever that waffle cereal is, I know somebody remembers. What is it? I Manifesto. Somebody know. If they got that, then
Pancake's gonna turn to hardtack. Yeah, they will.
Right, yeah. But that cereal might keep for a little while. So if you got to have cereal, if you got to have pancakes, or if you got to have cereal, or like I said,
so many pancake mixes only require water in a hot pan. All pancake mixes require just hot water in a hot pan, don't they?
Sometimes you have to add egg and that kind of thing. But
okay, now you need, and speaking on hot pans, and we're going to talk on that later, but you need a way to heat your pans during that time too.
Right. Yeah, Bo. So,
all right,
my turn. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. I can let it get away from me. We recommend the following get home bag items. As far as the container goes, medium-sized backpack, lightweight and comfortable for long distance travel, and low profile design, preferred for mobility and discretion. What's meant by that is, not too flashy, as Baba tells us, nothing tactical looking, where, as soon as people look at you, they're like, oh, they got supplies in there. It should be a very sort of nondescript bag in a nondescript color, like maybe a navy blue or black, something like that.
But it shouldn't be black tactical.
Right. It shouldn't be like where it looks like a rucking bag or an army bag or something like that, where, like I said, people, as soon as they look at you or think it makes you a target. People think, okay, that person's got supplies. Let me go see about them, or let me follow them. As far as water goes, a single walled metal water bottle that's boil safe, a water purification tablets, as Baba mentioned, secondary purification method, tablets, drops, or like the straw that Baba mentioned would be a secondary method as well. Food, dehydrated meals, which are compact and nutrient dense, protein bars, energy or granola bars, and no food cook options prioritized. So no pancakes for your get home. Yeah, make sure, like I said, you get those MREs or there's even ready to eat meals on the shelf at the grocery store that are already cooked that you don't have to warm up. You can eat them, but remember the sodium content. Emergency sleeping bag or I'm sorry, as far as your cover and warmth goes, you want to have an emergency sleeping bag or bivy, emergency blanket, mylar or fleece, and then optional lightweight blanket if space allows. As far as your clothing, you want to have spare pants, spare shirt, underwear, and socks. Socks, you want to be looking for a nice wool blend of socks that can help with keeping your feet dry, which is very important in these situations. A hoodie or insulating layers is good.
And on the socks, I've got on a wool blend now.
Yeah, I don't have them on right now, but I definitely have several pairs. A hoodie or insulating layer. Oh, I said that already. A rain poncho, comfortable walking or biking shoes or hiking shoes, excuse me. A beanie or hat, a bandana or shamal.
Shamog.
Shama.
Shamog. It's like a balaclava.
Okay. Tactical or work boots, hand warmers. As far as fire and combustion goes, you want to have a lighter, a ferro rod, emergency tinder, compact fire starting kit, and redundant ignition methods, a minimum of 2. And I mentioned YouTube videos before. There's lots of very useful YouTube videos out there that can show you good, kindling, or a good tinder that you can use. So, start to prepare now, start to watch those things, share them with your family.
One type of tinder you can use when you wash your clothes and dry your clothes, and the dryer lint, that's great kindling.
So that's definitely something that you have to start saving now and wrapping up now so that you can have a decent amount of it. It's very light. It's like no weight to that. So that's an excellent thing.
It's gonna burn quickly. Now you can use petroleum jelly, mix it on that, and that'll last much longer.
Yeah, and I've seen again videos where people show that, and like things like cotton balls, which is also something that's little to no weight that you can have.
And you can dip that in petroleum jelly too.
Yeah, bro.
It'll burn quite a while.
As far as your tools and your medical supplies, you want to have a knife. Now, it said we want to have at least 2 knives, let's say. But like Baba said, redundancy would be great in that particular area. A multi-tool, a small crowbar, paracord, and a first aid kit, which you can have an IFAC or a basic kit. I don't know.
Now the crowbar, it might be to get you if the place you're in has debris that's blocking your egress, you can use the crowbar to knock that out of the way. Yeah, or to bust through walls, things of that nature.
Right. And as far as the first aid kit goes, our very first guest ever when we started Warrior Class was Doc Peggins. I don't know how many of you are familiar with him, but he has some more advanced first aid kits that he can provide and teach you how to use, that has all kinds of different things in there for trauma and triage. So again, that's something that you would prepare for now, learning how to do now. As far as navigation and light goes, a compass, a GPS device is optional but recommended in a situation where you'd be able to use it. A flashlight or a headlamp or both. A backup light source which could be like a chem light or a glow stick. As far as power and communication, you want a solar power bank, charging cables, and a phone kept powered off unless needed. A good thing to keep with you is if you have an old phone, if you know something that you haven't traded in, that there's nothing wrong with, it still works and all of that. I keep a few of my old cell phones powered up around the house and one in my bag just in case, because those, especially if there is any source of internet around that you can jump on, you can still use those to do certain
And
things.
make
So
make sure you don't put it on the ground though, because the ground will drain the batteries. And any item that has batteries, don't put them on the ground if you can help it.
Yeah, bro. As far as your miscellaneous essentials, you want emergency cash, an emergency whistle, sunscreen, duct tape, and wet wipes are also very important.
And let me say about sunscreen real quick. It's mostly black folks on here. You still need sunscreen. When the heat gets brutal, you need sunscreen.
Yeah, well. And we talk about in the bug out bag, we talk about like having soap, different hygiene supplies. In this get home bag, we talk about wet wipes. Those can be used in a short term if you're trying to get home, if you need to for a certain, for certain sanitary needs that you may have. You just make sure that you have a good amount and a good size as far as the wet wipes go.
Right.
Redundancy matters. Whenever possible, carry items with a dual or multiple functions. Mobility comes first. If it slows you down unnecessarily, reconsider it. Prepare in advance. This bag is useless if it isn't ready when things go wrong. A get home bag isn't about comfort. It's about movement, endurance, and making it back one step at a time. And as we talked about with the go bag, think about your addictions. Think about what things you need to stick in there so that you can get by for a few days while you have, give yourself some distance and some time to be able to get off of, certain things.
Right. Preparedness is not about fear. It's about accepting that the world does not owe you stability. The world doesn't owe you stability. So just remember that. A bug out bag is a quiet acknowledgement that when the lights go out and the rules stop applying, you intend to keep moving. A get home bag exists for the moment when vehicles fail, help is unavailable, and the only way back is under your own power. And sometimes that's the difference between making it home and becoming another cautionary story. Now, Ominiki is going to discuss and break down which herbs and natural products to include in your bags. Let me say something real quick about the stove, a portable stove. You can get the kind that are a little bit larger than a deck of cards, and they take these magnesium tabs that will burn. You can get that, and I have that in my bag. You can also have a portable stove that takes fuel, right? A portable fuel bottle, like about this big. You screw that in, and you can it'll make fire for you, and you can use that to heat up things too. I have that too in my bag. So
yeah, bro. I don't mean to laugh. I'm looking at these comments. People are talking about Captain Crunch will last 3 weeks.
Captain Crunch. Yeah. I met Special said get you some cinnamon toast crunch.
Toast Crunch, but there was a waffle cereal. I know
Yeah,
y'all know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
I remember it, but I think they just discontinued that.
That's crazy.
What do you think of the usefulness of a string saw? Purchased one at a local flea market the other day for 50 cents. Wow. Okay. String saw is good for cutting small items like cutting wooden branches or whatever. Better than the strings. Well, yeah, better than that straw is I have actual strings in my boots that are pretty much indestructible, and they can be used to cut things too. You may
is that
want
the
to
550 paracord, Baba?
no.
That's something else.
No, it's actual. It's actual. It looks well. It's sold as indestructible shoestrings, but it can be used like a saw, and that's known that it can be used as a saw too. 550 paracord cannot be used as a saw.
Okay.
It can be used to tie things up and things of that nature. It can be used to repel, but it cannot be used as a saw.
I had never heard that it could, but when you said you had it in your boots, I was thinking that
No,
that's what
not 550 paracord. Now 550 paracord, you can wear it in your boots as string,
right.
but no, I've got actual indestructible cutting string in my boots.
Okay.
See, facts. I wore my Air Force fleece jacket and a mask the other day to a store, and someone got spooked. Yeah, they can get spooked, or they can say he got some supplies or whatever. Google says Waffle Crisp was big. Yeah, that's it. Waffle Crisp
Okay, maybe
was
that's what
big
it
in
is.
the 90s. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, maybe yeah. Or get you some Cookie Crunch. Isn't that
No.
with the cereal? I
Cinnamon toast crunch.
right. Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay.
Do you mean Waffle Crisp cereal? Yeah, that was it. That's what she meant. Waffle Crisp.
Yeah, I guess so. So now I'm gonna go over a few herbs. There are definitely you I guess you could choose all of them if you want to keep them in your bag, but you got to make sure that you have room for these things.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Give me just a second as well. Excuse me, family. Just a second. All right. I have a few facts about some of these herbs. Um, and then I have a few stories. One thing I want to say, I'm not, obviously I'm not a medical professional, or maybe it's not obvious, but I'm not a medical professional. I'm an amateur herbalist I've been a mom for 17 years. We don't take medicine, we use herbs. So these are the things that I'm talking about here are things that I have worked with myself and that I use all the time at home. So that's the point of view that I'm coming from with this. You can also always do further research into any of these herbs that I'm talking about. You definitely want to make sure that you don't have allergies to anything that actually, some of these things will be useful. So you may want to keep them with you, even if you don't have a strong allergy to them, because you may not be able to use them, but someone in your family may be able to. Or when you think about it along the way, you may be able to trade. So, and that's something we didn't talk about with the addictions. But even if you're not addicted to sugar, if you keep a few candy bars in your bag, you may be able to trade with someone for something that's valuable to you. So, think about it in that way also. The first herb that I would keep with me is oregano. It is antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. It has antimicrobial properties as well. It can help with improving your digestion and with some foodborne illnesses, which in the short term could be disastrous, for you.
Now,
From what I
real quick,
read, yeah,
real
from
quick,
what
on me to
no.
um, I think it's Emmanuel Briggs. He said, "Could you use a homemade hobo stove for survival? Would you suggest buying survival stove? If you got a homemade hobo stove, then you can use that."
You spooked me, Astro. Okay.
Sorry, Dominique.
No, it's okay. No. Astro told me my volume was muted, but it actually was his or hers, excuse me. Let's see. I was talking about oregano. It also potentially can be used to manage diabetes and improve heart health. Those are, long-term things. It contains compounds, the compounds thymol and corticol, and these have, as I mentioned, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. One way that I use oregano is, obviously for culinary purposes, but you can also have an oregano tea that will help with, like I said, if you're having an issue with foodborne illnesses. One thing I'll talk about in a few minutes is oil of oregano as well, which is very powerful to help keep illnesses at bay. And if you start to feel unwell, it's something that you can use. Um, Cayenne pepper is another thing that you can keep with you. You It's good to help manage short-term aches and pains. I normally will keep a tincture, but I also have the dry cayenne pepper as well. Um, at home, I'll mix whatever the recommended dosage is, which I think is about between 15 and 30 drops. I'll put it in just a small amount of orange juice and drink that, and that will help with little aches and pains that you may have. Also for the sisters, I've definitely found it useful with any type of menstrual pain. If you don't have certain
Now,
medications with you.
with menstrual pain, do you ingest it or you put it down there?
I ingest it. With this particular thing, I would ingest the cayenne. That's what I use, the tincture. Like I said, 15 to 20 drops in just a small amount of orange juice can help give you some relief for a while, actually. Um, as a person who doesn't take medicine, you may still want to have medicine for those particular situations with you, because like I said, in the short term, you may be willing to take something like that in order to help reduce pain so that you can keep going, because the main thing in these situations is that you keep moving. So think about that as well. um the research that I did says that cayenne pepper can help with your immunity. It's good for blood circulation, inflammation, as well as headaches and throat congestion. And then the active ingredient in cayenne pepper is capsaicin, which is a compound responsible for its spicy heat and many of the medicinal properties that it has with, as I've mentioned, pain relief. Um, Baba just mentioned that you can apply it topically. Um, there's a there's a product out there that has the word capsaicin in it, which is, as I mentioned, the active ingredient, and that is a topical product. I don't know what the other ingredients are in capsaicin, whatever the capsaicin product is, but you may want to look into that, because that's something that it will definitely be useful to you. Something that you can just rub on and move on.
Yeah,
It definitely works.
I injured my foot years ago when I was living in Phoenix, They thought it was broken, but when I went to a foot specialist, my foot wasn't broken, but it was badly injured, and I used this cream that contained capsaicin in it. I don't remember what the cream is called, but that stopped pain. It was topical, and
And
that
there's
stopped
all
pain.
different kinds. There's all different kinds. So just as I said, the part of the preparation here is to make sure make sure that it works for you. So start getting those things now and make sure that they work for you. One thing that I saw that was interesting says that capsaicin interacts with your sensory neurons, reducing pain signals. So that's how it stops. That's how it helps alleviate pain. Is that it reduces the signaling to, I suppose, your brain. Um, and it's really good for helping with circulation as well. The third thing would be garlic. Um, Garlic can help with cold and cough, hypertension, helps lower your cholesterol levels, which is a long-term thing, obviously. Can also help with future neurodegenerative diseases. I remember once having a really bad toothache, and this was probably, my son was probably 2. So this is the beginning of my journey with working with herbs. But I kept hearing garlic is really good for toothaches. You should try to use garlic. I had this I tried to use it, and the first day I had the toothache, I think I took a piece of garlic clove and maybe just stuck it up in my tooth because it was in the top of my mouth. It didn't do anything. I was in pain for 3 days, and to be honest, I probably should have been gone to a hospital. My face swelled up, my jaw was huge, and I told myself at that time, I'm gonna try garlic one more time, and I'm gonna see if I can get it to work. So what I ended up doing was a lot of these herbs that I use, I try to buy the organic because it's not that much more, and it helps reduce the amount of chemicals, harmful chemicals that can be in the plant. So I took some organic garlic powder, a very small amount, and I took like maybe a drop or two of coconut oil, and I mixed them together and made a paste, just a little bit of paste, and I put it on a cotton ball and I stuck it up inside of my tooth. And this is like last ditch effort. Like I said, my face was swollen. It was definitely like an abscess at that point. After I stuck the cotton ball up into my tooth, into I guess the right spot, within 10 minutes, my all the swelling went out of my face and all of the pain went out of my tooth. And I was able to, and it lasted. It gave me enough time to be able to get to actually make an appointment, go see a dentist, and get the problem taken care of. So if you're in a situation where you're just trying to get home, something like that can really help you to, like I said, reduce the problem and get where you're going. A lot of the herbs that I will be talking about, a lot of people consider alkaline herbs. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Dr. Sebi, but when I started learning about these herbs, I was sort of following his particular diet. I was newly vegan and all of that at that point. And so that's why those are a lot of the herbs that I learned to work with. Garlic is not alkaline or not considered something that is recommended by Dr. Sebi, but from my personal experiences with garlic, I consider it something that you cannot exclude. So garlic is definitely something that I make sure that I keep.
Now, Brittany asked, where did all that fluid drain to?
I don't know. I have no idea. It was maybe about 15 years ago. So I don't
She
know.
said, I had that happen and the thing popped.
It didn't. Nothing like that happened to me. No, I didn't get sick because you would think if it was fluid, it might have drained into my stomach. I don't know. But I know that all of that went away and I was fine after that. I had no additional problems. Yes, I know. And I have
It
told that story. Yes, Brittany. Wow. I have told that story in so many different settings, and people just look at me like I'm crazy. But I am here to tell you that it happened to me. So
could have dried up.
well, I guess so. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But you know, not being a medical professional, I can't tell you. I can only tell you what happened to me and what I was able to do with garlic. So that's definitely something that you want to keep with you, along, of course, with some cotton balls. I don't know, it probably doesn't have to be an oil. You might be able to make a paste just with water, you know, just a little bit of water. But I think water might make it dissipate a little bit, if that makes sense. Whereas the oil is not going to dissolve it. You know, oil is just going to keep it in that kind of paste form. So, you know, if you keep like a shea butter with you or something like that, which can also be useful as a sunscreen, then that may be something that you can mix with a garlic to do the thing that I'm talking about. Let me go back to my notes. Ginger is also something very good to keep with you. It's good for digestion, and also can help relieve nausea, pain. If you're having a situation with woman, like menstrual disorders or cramps or anything like that, ginger is good to help and helpful with that. Let's see. It says that it can improve respiratory conditions, reduce flatulence, which sounds kind of funny, but you don't want that giving you away in certain situations. So, you know, make sure that you know, keep your stomach in good order when you're out trying to get home. It says that it can help strengthen the immune system. It can also increase appetite. Something I can caution you against as far as ginger goes is that too much may thin the blood. So, you know, make sure that you're trying to work with ginger now, seeing if it's something good that works with you. Something else I was going to say about ginger. I have some combinations that I use as well, that I consider to be very powerful combinations. Ginger is one half of one of them. The other one is lemongrass. So ginger and lemongrass is a combination. Lemongrass is something that I learned about from an aunt of mine. She actually she has transitioned at this point, but she was from Panama. And she said that in Panama, they call it fever grass. The reason is because it is so powerful when used to help reduce fevers. It has antibacterial, antifungal, and antimicrobial properties. Also, I found that it says that the research that I did says that it is good with cleansing and flushing harmful toxic waste from the body as a result of its diuretic properties. Something that's a diuretic helps you urinate. So that will help remove toxins from your body. Lemongrass, let's see, is a febrifuge and is also known as fever grass due to its beneficial benefits in lowering fever. The possible antipyrectic and antiphoretic effect is extensively used in Ayurvedic medicine for curing fever by inducing sweating. I remember when I started to research lemongrass years ago, when my aunt told me about it, you know, I was wondering because with Tylenol, one thing, you know, people use Tylenol to help reduce fever. But the thing about it is normally a fever in the body means that your body is fighting some sort of infection. So the reason for the fever is that it's trying to kill the infection. So a fever isn't necessarily your enemy, but you don't want it to get out of control. My son, there was a period of time when he would just have every once in a while, every few months, maybe 3 or 4 months, he would just pop up with a fever. And instead of giving him Tylenol or medicines, I would work with the lemongrass and the ginger with him to help reduce the fever. Um, During those particular times, you want to make sure that you're on top of having a routine, not just doing it like once a day or something like that, but having a routine where you're doing it several times a day to help combat the fever. You can even do a bath with lemongrass and ginger, which is something that you can't do if you're necessarily trying to get home. Maybe if you're bugging in, probably not if you're bugging out. But with lemongrass, some of the research that I saw, like I said at the time, was that lemongrass doesn't work by just reducing fever. Lemongrass is powerful against fever because it actually helps kill the fever. And that's what brings it helps kill infection. It's very powerful against killing infection. And that's what brings the fever down. So lemongrass and ginger is a powerful tea. It's definitely something that you may want to look into using. Turmeric is another anti-inflammatory that is used in the Ayurvedic modality. Ayurvedic is out of India, so that may be something that you want to look into as well. It's a whole system of medicine. I think Ayurveda means like whole body or something like that. Let's see. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory that, if used with just a pinch of pepper, can, let's see, it's an anti-inflammatory, and when you use it with just a pinch of pepper, it can be up to 2,000 times more effective and absorbed into your body. So turmeric and black pepper may be also something that you would consider keeping with you. Just a second, I need to plug my laptop in. Sorry, y'all. I normally have a way to plug it in at the ready, but I got the heater plugged in up here. It's kind of cold in Georgia today. Let's see. I talked about turmeric and black pepper. Another thing that we talked about, menstruation and the effects that it may be having on certain ladies when you're out in these situations. It could be really uncomfortable. One tea that you can also keep with you is red raspberry leaf. That's something that you can start working with now. My experience with red raspberry leaf actually came from getting a wellness consultation from a sister during that same period of time that I had the toothache, which like I said, was about maybe 15 years ago. She recommended that I started using red raspberry leaf when I was telling her about some of the issues I was having with my cycle at the time. I started the next day, and within a week, my cycle started, and it was completely changed after 1 week of drinking red raspberry leaf tea like once a day. So it's definitely something that is worth considering keeping with you. I do a lot of loose leaf teas, but if you're going to keep it in your go bag or your bug out bag, you may be comfortable with doing loose leaf. You may also just want to go and buy boxes of these teas because the bags don't take up a lot of space, and they're very light. So you can have a pack, just a small Ziploc bag with several kinds of different teas in them, or you may want to keep them separate because sometimes they affect each other a little bit too much, or the flavoring and oils and all that stuff can kind of intermingle. One great thing to combine with red raspberry leaf, and it's also great to combine with some other things, is peppermint. Peppermint helps certain herbs to penetrate. So if I do a red raspberry leaf tea, then I'll do peppermint tea with it as well. and that just makes it a little bit more powerful. As far as tinctures and essential oils that you may want to keep, as I mentioned, cayenne tincture. You can do the powder cayenne or the tincture. The tincture is the thing that I mentioned that I will put in a with a little bit of orange juice to help relieve pain. Oil of oregano, it just takes about 5 drops of oil of oregano, and that helps with all kinds of respiratory issues and things of that nature. It can help combat cold. So if you start to feel ill, I think I mentioned that already. Oil of oregano is something that's powerful to use. Clove oil. I talked about toothache. Clove oil is something that they keep in those emergency toothache kits. And that's something that I learned about years ago as well. Clove oil will knock a toothache out like that. And that's something that you want to have in your first aid with cotton balls as well. Another thing that you may or may not find value for, it is very powerful, but as far as taking up space, it may not be necessarily the greatest thing. But elderberry syrup is also good with helping to keep off cold, flu. I remember at the beginning of COVID, they actually started recommending that you stay away from elderberry syrup. And I saw this video with this Indian doctor that I took to heart because of some of the information that she was giving, and the fact that her specialty was Ayurveda. She talked about how elderberry is too powerful, or even during that time was too powerful to ignore as far as COVID. It was something that you want to have a daily habit of taking rather than just start to take when you find out that you had, COVID at the time. But that you want to, make sure that you keep up a daily habit of it. And I believe, if I remember right, she was saying if you already started to feel the respiratory effects of COVID, then that's when you want to stop taking the elderberry. But if you keep a daily habit of it, it can keep some of that stuff at bay. Let's see. Black seed oil is also an oil. Like I said, with oils and like these syrups, you have to keep a certain amount. So it may not be great for traveling with, but if you can find a way to travel with it, it's very, very valuable. Black seed oil as a bitter, and just it just is invaluable. I'm sorry.
So Kiki came in the room. She had waved at you, but
Hey, Okikiola, I'm sorry.
She's gone now. But
excuse me, I've been so like.
Emmanuel Briggs said, "Hello, beautiful little queen." That's what he was talking to her.
Aw, that's really beautiful. Yeah. Hey, Kiki. And I just want to reinforce some of the combinations that I talked about, lemongrass and ginger. One that I use also is I'll do a tablespoon of elderberry syrup with 5 drops of oil of oregano. That is something that, like I said, when you're trying to keep something at bay, it's good to have a routine where you're doing like a combination of these. So echinacea and golden seal. I know a lot of us know about that. That is definitely, that's not an old wives' tale. That stuff works. You definitely want to keep. I have actually a packet of tea that I wanted to show you that I just keep in my purse, but that you can also mirror in a go bag or a get home bag. These are some teas that I have. This tea has I know I shouldn't be showing it, but it has elderberry in it. It has echinacea in it as well. And I keep several of these teas in a small bag with a pack of golden seal. Now, this is something that you can you can buy this. Let me see. I can't remember how much it costs, but this little bit of golden seal, I think, costs about $9. But I mean, it's quite a bit. It's something that you can keep with you in your go bag, in your purse, on your person. And it's invaluable to keeping yourself healthy. And let's see.
And in fact, golden seal is considered the most powerful antibiotic, antifungal uh, property in the world.
Wow. I was not aware of that. The last thing I want to talk about is bitters. Um, your yellow dock root, your burdock root, your dandelion. These are also things that you can make a daily habit of taking now. They're great during a season that, they call it cold and flu season. It really just means that you're not drinking water and getting as hydrated as you should. But during these particular times, though, keeping those roots and bitters in rotation will help keep you healthy to the point that when you get out in these situations, you don't have to worry about your immune system failing you. You also, yellow dock root, I have seen in the short term help with issues with your stomach, issues with keeping cold and flu at bay. I had a coworker, I used to also, I guess, kind of experiment with my coworkers and myself too. I would make everyone teas with just a little bit of yellow dock root in it, and it would be like a short cup of tea and we'd all drink it. It was like almost like we were doing shots together. But one of my coworkers who had a very serious digestive issue said that every time she took those shots with us, that even though she had a really difficult time going to the bathroom, that yellow dock root helped her every time. So, just think about starting to work with some of these herbs. One silly thing that we have in our community, that I'm sure a lot of people on this channel don't have, but this going to the bathroom thing where it's embarrassing, you don't want to eat or drink anything that will make you go to the bathroom. One thing that we don't think about is that we're expelling something that's already inside of us. It's not, this going to the bathroom is not creating what is happening. It is helping it to get outside of your body, which is the best possible thing. So, go to the bathroom. Take things that help you go to the bathroom. That is my final message here. So, that's the end of the herb section. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer them. But like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm telling you what I know from using this stuff for years.
Now, Brittany said golden seal be bitter AF. That's
Yes,
true.
that's good. But golden seal is so bitter. And you know what? I've taken it for years. My son has taken it for years, to the point that we'll just take a little bit of golden seal and swallow it. To me, at this point, and he's not there yet, but I remember, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago, we both took a little bit of golden seal, and I was like, it kind of has like a sweet finish to it. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. Like, no, it is not sweet. Golden seal and yellow dock root are going to be among some of the most bitter things that you have ever tasted in your life. Bitter in nature is cleansing. So think about that. You're eradicating things from your system with these bitters. So it's not a bad thing. Working with your taste buds at this point, even though, like I said, some of us have addictions to sugar and different other, things that you can eat. Working with your taste buds right now can save you in the future. You might sell someone up the river for some candy if you're in a bad enough place with it. So, start to come down off of that now. Start to enjoy more bitter, more sour notes on your tongue now, because that will help you now. We have a lot of joking in our community about not eating healthy, not, just always thinking about the way things taste instead of what they're doing for you. And that will come at a cost later. It's coming at a cost now, you just don't realize it. But definitely in a more acute situation, that will come at a cost. The fact that you feel like you can only eat, these most pleasurable things. Like, you need to think about what something is doing for you. But that's all I have right now. Like I said, let me look and see if anyone's asking questions.
I don't think so. Eugene Mason says, "Much respect, warrior class. My heart is with you, Baba." Thank you, thank you. Brittany said, "I try to just put it in water, but sometimes I mix with juice."
Yeah, I would say what I find most successful, Brittany, is I'll take like a it doesn't take much golden seal. I'll do the 1/8 teaspoon, but then I don't fill it up at all. I do maybe do half of that. So I guess a 16th of a teaspoon or something. I'll put it as far back in my mouth as I can and swallow it and then take juice behind it. I know that seems like you're a lot of bitterness at once, but I think the juice helps wash it away more than if you're trying to actually drink it in juice, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Mixing golden seal with grapefruit unsweetened juice blends well with golden.
yeah,
Grapefruit unsweetened juice blends well with golden seal. Now, juice does blend well with it, but yeah, the sweet juice with golden seal that may taste gross. Now, mixing golden seal with grapefruit juice, if you don't have uh, heart problems,
right.
that could work. But if you have heart problems, you should stay away from grapefruit. If you're taking medicines too.
Right. I was gonna say that's another thing that just like with the peppermint, I mentioned that helps things penetrate. Just like with the black pepper, which exponentially helps the benefits of turmeric. Grapefruit juice is another thing that can greatly magnify the effects of something that you take with it. So, think about if you're combining it with golden seal, that might be a really good thing. But if you're taking medications, that might not work for you. I know with my mother, my grandmother, that's something that they talk about all the time, that they can't eat grapefruit, that they can't drink grapefruit juice because, it'll interfere with certain medications. The thing I would say about that is that, you want to keep medications as we mentioned in your go bag and your get home bag. But now, while you have a chance, you can, if some of these issues that you're having are lifestyle related, you may be able to try to come down off of taking those medications. If you start building better habits, you may be able to come down off of taking some of those medications, which will help you in emergency situations.
When I went to the stayed in the hospital this last time, um, I went from 2 medicines to 10, and I reduced that myself. Uh, 10 medications is that's a lot of medicine, and I know some people who do more.
Mm-hmm.
That is really bad for you. Can't do grapefruit if you are on high blood pressure meds. Right, exactly, because grapefruit lowers blood pressure.
I have
My,
a
my
coworker who
mom's medication prevents her from eating grapefruit. Yeah. So I have high blood pressure medicine, and I can't take grapefruit not just because it lowers your blood pressure. It also uh, does something to the medicine where it releases faster.
right, and that's the exponential effect that it can have on certain medicines
Right.
and certain herbs as well. I was going to say I have a coworker who's a trained phlebotomist who worked in medical offices for many years. She's a kind of an older lady, and she talked about how working in those environments showed her how once you get past taking like 2 or 3 different medications, there's not much that you're doing for yourself, and that there's so many side effects of all those different kinds of medications that you're just really combating side effects at that point. you know, once you
And,
get
and, and medications should be looked at as what they are. They're drugs,
right.
not just medications.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All
Oh,
right. So,
one thing I wanted to say, I mentioned, I think I wrote it down, but I forgot to type it into my notes about elderberry syrup. If you do look for it, look for something that is as simple and basic as possible. Read the ingredients. I'm not gonna recommend any one in particular, but the one that I buy is from a store called Sprouts, and it's just their store brand, but it has organic elderberry in it, and it doesn't have much else in it. I think it's just it may be alcohol or water, and just like maybe one or two other ingredients. A lot of times when you, especially if you get it from the grocery store, some like chain grocery store, it'll have a whole laundry list of ingredients, including sweeteners. You know, you want to stay away from something that has all of those type of ingredients in it.
right. Remember to be tested for G6PD. I don't know what that is. An enzyme definitely inherited, predominantly African American. They will not tell you. You must ask to be tested. Look it up. Proves we need natural remedies. We do need natural remedies. I will be looking up G6PD today. Sprouts is my go-to.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
good.
Sprouts is good. A lot. I find a lot of the prices to be high. I'm a bargain shopper. So I go places that have the things that I need, but I make sure I get good prices for them. They just had like a really good, like 25 or 30% off sale. So I went and I stocked up on more elderberry, more, different other kinds of things. Oh, another one that I'm
Except your weapons.
right.
Her
Yeah.
she
No.
bought this weapon that is garbage, and
That
she could have
I
just
didn't buy
called
that at
me.
Sprouts though.
No, not at Sprouts. She could have called me, and I could have told her,
Yeah,
but she didn't call me that time. So
right. But one thing that, and we could all look into this. I looked into it some, and I have taken it actually over the years, but in a mix is wormwood and black walnut. That is something that I picked up at Sprouts recently too, the tinctures for that. And I right now, what I'm fasting right now actually, so I'm not taking any kind of herbs even. But what I have been doing with my son and what I will be doing when I'm done fasting is each week we do a different bitter. So one week, every day we drink a detox tea in the early part of the day. So I'll either mix yellow dock root into that tea, burdock root into the tea, or what I'm doing now is mixing a tincture of black walnut and wormwood into just some water and taking that for a week, and also for a week doing a tablespoon of black seed oil with the 5 drops of oil of oregano. It's a good time to make sure that you're keeping bitters in your system. So that's, like I said, when you come up with a routine of what you're going to do, and make sure, again, I think I said this at the beginning, but make sure that you look for things that you may be allergic to. Oregano in particular is in the mint family. So if you can't do mint, then you probably can't do oregano. So make sure, that you're looking up what you may be um, allergic to. Let's see. I Manifesto said he has black seed bitters with moringa detox beverage, which contains pretty much all ingredients that I mentioned. Yeah.
and he takes two teaspoons a day. That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. It's good to mix it up too, though. That's the thing. And that's why I'm doing it like 1 week this, 1 week that, 1 week this. It's good to, to kind of keep a mixture going.
All right, you all. So be safe in your homes. Be safe in the streets.
Yeah, boom.
In the movie theaters, in the restaurants, wherever you may go. Stay black or whatever it is that you are. We'll see you next week, hopefully. Peace.
Peace. Maybe I'll have some news next week too.
All right.
Love y'all, family.
Yep. Love y'all.
Bittered up, herbed up.
Yep. And go bag and get home bagged up.
Yeah,
all right. Peace.
Peace.